So this is kind of a big one because if you didn't already know, I'm engaged. I can't believe it. I thought I would just make a little video talking to you guys about the proposal, the engagement, the wedding, etc. Answer all of your questions. I am a taken woman. I am officially off the market. I am to be wed. I'm an engaged woman. I'm a fiance. Fiance. Do you know how weird it is saying fiance every time I go to say it, because I don't want to say boyfriend anymore. And I've always thought it would be so nice to say, this is my fiance, but every time I go to do it, I feel so embarrassed because I feel like I am like trying to show off that I'm engaged, which I guess I kind of am, but I find it so cringe. So let's just get straight on into it. A lot of the questions were kind of very similar. You all kind of wanted to know the same kind of things. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for all of your kind wishes and congratulations. It means so much to me. I am so excited to share this whole journey with you because I want to document the whole process. First of all, a question that a lot of people have said, which is, did you know he was going to do it, essentially? And I did. I've already kind of spoken about this on Instagram, but unfortunately for Casper, I knew it was happening that day. In fact, the dress I was wearing, I ordered specifically to wear when he proposed to me. So, which a lot of people have also asked about. It is from Sleeper, Daily Sleeper. They are an amazing Ukrainian brand, and it's this linen dress. It's called the Atlanta dress, and I got it in navy. It's a little bit expensive, but I thought, you know, this is hopefully my engagement dress. Splash out. Very close to that time, we were lying in bed together one night, and over his shoulder on his phone, I saw loads of screenshots of hands, just like this, you know, but with rings on, like the classic ring shot. And I saw like a bunch of them on his camera, and he quickly exited and he was like, you shouldn't be looking over my shoulder. And I was like, oh my God, that planted like the first seed in my brain of, is Casper thinking of proposing to me? Because for all of our relationship, pretty much, it's been this kind of running joke of like, so when are you gonna do it? When are you gonna propose? And he's always said, I'm gonna do it when you're much older. Also because I'm 24 now, 24, but when we got together I was 19, so obviously really young. Up until he did it, he was still saying, you're too young. And I thought he was gonna wait until I was like maybe 28. I thought we'd reach a time where I would have to start putting on a little bit of pressure, saying, come on, it's time, get down on one knee. So I can't believe I didn't even have to do that. I can't believe that Casper proposed to me without any pressure, no pressure from me, from outside sources, because none of our friends are getting married, really. It's not like we're getting old. So, it actually is so nice that he just decided that he just wanted to marry me. And then the next day, actually, after seeing the hands with the rings, because I use Casper's MacBook Pro, old MacBook Pro, to edit YouTube videos, which I will have edited this video on because my MacBook Air doesn't have the processing power. It just like freezes. So I was editing a video one day and I went onto the Notes app just to type a little note, and I guess his iCloud is still synced, or it was at the time, because he doesn't actually use an iPhone anymore. And I saw this little thumbnail on the Notes app. I was like, is that a diamond? And it was a screenshot, and I clicked the note and there was a screenshot of an oval diamond for sale. And I was like, oh my God, the floor moved beneath me. Like, I cannot tell you how shocked I was. I was like, oh, I think if I hadn't seen the clues, I think I would have been that shocked when he proposed. I'm actually glad I did know and it wasn't a complete surprise, because I actually took some time to adjust to the fact that, yeah, I am ready to get married. Like, because I knew that relationship wise we were already there. You know, we'd been together at this point for like 4 years, but I just didn't even think that was on the table. So I'm glad that I had time to mentally make a shift in my mind, because I think also that's one of the things with getting engaged. My sense of identity has completely shifted. It's like there was the me before getting engaged and the me after, and I'm never going to not be, you know, I'm never been proposed to now. That's done. I'm never going to have that moment again. Not sad about it, but it's just a really weird thing. It's like I'm at the other side of that. I think because for me, growing up, it was a moment I was looking forward to so much, because I was like, I still am a big romantic. So yeah, I knew it was happening. And also because my mum was coming with us to South Africa for the first time, and I think that's when Casper decided he wanted to do it in South Africa, because he actually got the ring months ago. It had been in our house for months, and he was just waiting for the right time. And because he knew that I wanted to do it when we were on holiday, and obviously South Africa is special to us, but he wasn't going to do it in South Africa until he found out my mum was coming. And then one day, so bear in mind, my mum was going to be there from like the 17th to the 27th of December. And so this one day we wake up and Casper says, by the way, I'm going to take us to 7 Copies on the night of the 23rd of December, just the two of us, just for memories. So 7 Copies is the hotel where he did it. It's our favourite hotel in South Africa. And I was like, immediately I was like, oh my God, he's going to propose on the 23rd of December. Because I said to him, like, what about my mum? Where's she going to go? And he was like, oh, she can just stay at my mum's. And I thought, that's like kind of me. We'll say, bye mum, me and Casper are now off to go for some special time, just the two of us. And he was like, don't worry, I'll explain it to her. So I thought, okay, that's because he is in cahoots with her and she knows exactly what is happening. And also because even though we do nice things together, just the two of us, I kind of have to like give him some pushing and prompting, you know. He doesn't just do it for out of nowhere, really. So that was big alarm bells. I knew it was happening. That was the long-winded explanation of that. Another one. I bet fangirl version of you never thought you'd ever marry Casper. This, honestly, when I sit and think about it, it is mental. Like, if I could go back in time to the day that little 13-year-old me met Casper that day in Reading at this meet and greet, if I could go back and say to her, this man is gonna get down on one knee and ask you to marry him one day. Oh my, I mean, it's so interesting. And like my nanu, my mum's mum, she would always say things like, I wonder what your future husband is doing right now. And so she'd say that like when I was a teenager, and I'd always think, what's he doing right now? Not knowing that I'd actually met him. And yeah, I wish I could tell teenage me that you're gonna marry this YouTuber that you watch. Mental. It's crazy how the world works. Did you look at rings together beforehand and get measured? We didn't look at rings together. He was actually very sly. He found out what kind of ring I wanted through Ellie. We used to live with Ellie up until like November. And one day, again, this was so long ago, I did not think it was to do with Casper. It must have been like April, May, I don't know. And she just said one day, I don't, because we talk about like people getting married and stuff all the time. She was like, oh, my friend's getting married, this is her ring. I was like, wow, amazing. Then she was like, what kind of ring do you want? And we started talking about it, and I showed her. I specifically wanted an oval diamond on a solitaire, so it's just oval, on a gold band. Which leads me on to, so many people have asked me about my ring. So I am just going to talk through the details, as it were. Do you know, although there is a story behind this ring which is really interesting. 2 years ago or something, I had met with a jeweler called Patricia, she's South African, for another reason. And she was showing me kind of some of the stuff she had in her collection. She had this engagement ring, not this one, actually, I'll get it for you because I have it. So I tried this ring on. This is the ring. Obviously the center stone has been removed because it is now my ring. So I tried this ring on and I sent a photo of it to Casper. And I was like, lol, the answer is yes, or something like that. And Casper, oh, that fell off to me because that does not fit my hand. And Casper got in touch with Patricia when he decided that he wanted to get me a ring. He told her what kind of ring I wanted, and she basically said, oh, I've got this ring that Amber's actually tried on and she liked. What if I take the diamond out of that and put it in this one? So here we go. It's quite a funny story. Like, this diamond has been on my hand before, years ago. Crazy. Okay, so ring details. So it is a 3.22 carat natural diamond. It is VS1, which basically means it's got, I don't know, not that many inclusions, because when diamonds form, they get like spots of carbon in or something. I don't know. I just can't believe that this was formed in the earth. Now I get it, you know. It's so, I get why people love diamonds, because that's a crazy thing. It's like, I've gone my whole life not really, you know, looking at diamonds or having any diamonds, and suddenly I got this big one on my finger and I'm like, wow, I get what it's all about now. But the fact that this formed something so beautiful in the earth, and now it's mine and it's on my hand and a symbol of love. I get it. Ah! Okay, I'm actually gonna shine a light on it so you can see how it sparkles. Is that too bright? Okay, I'm gonna do this here so you can get a little close up of the ring. There we go. And all of her beauty, a little close up. And it's on a 18 karat gold, yellow gold band. I think it's like 1.8 millimeters, which is the lowest level of thickness. Should I leave this light on? I just got this to take with me to India. So I thought, I always go to those events and I see these influencers getting out their lights and I'm like, no wonder my photos look shit. I'm gonna leave it on for the rest of the video because it's actually getting darker and grayer and cloudier. So yeah, anyway, ring details, and it is K color. I think that when you look for diamonds, there's like kind of a thing about you shouldn't go for anything lower than a J because basically diamonds are color graded. I mean, that looks pretty white to me. Anyway, I love it. I can't believe she's mine. I'm excited to go try on wedding bands and see what goes with it. A lot of people have asked, how long have you been together and when did you know he was the one? Did you always know you wanted to marry Casper? So we've been together now almost 5 years, and I think we both knew very early on that we were kind of it for each other. It's funny actually, the first fight we ever had, maybe 2 months into dating, was about getting married, because I said to Casper, we just, you know, marriage came on, talking about marriage, and I basically said, I really believe in marriage, I really want to get married. And Casper, well, and then we just had this big fight because Casper he didn't believe in marriage essentially, he didn't want to do it. And this was in Melbourne in Australia. And I was like crying, I think, and I was like, if you want to be with me, you have to marry me, because yeah, for me that was just like kind of a, what's the word? I've had my mind go blank, but it was one of those, you know, it was non-negotiable. I had to get married. And now look, 5 years later, they got a ring on my finger, which I didn't even ask for. Well, I mean, I kind of did. And we said I love you kind of in July, and we got together officially in June, and we started dating in April, May, June, July. So 4 months after we met, we said I love you. And we also, I think, realized that we had a connection that we didn't have with anyone else before that. And obviously we took our kind of time with things. Well, I mean, we moved in together a year later, and then from then we knew that we were going to be together forever. And we always talked. That's another question, was, did you guys talk about marriage before it happened? And we talked about marriage like all the time. And we talk about having kids all the time. I think we talk about our future babies like every day. I think we mentioned something to do with them. Our future babies come up because we just love talking about the future and talking about our lives together. And I think that's kind of a red flag in relationships sometimes, if your partner doesn't want to talk about the future or getting married or children. Yeah, and I love that element of our relationship. It's so nice to talk about our lives, our life together. So a lot of people have asked about Harry Potter. Is Harry Potter yours and Casper's thing? How come he chose that? It's not our thing by any means, but I love Harry Potter. I always have. I've actually got a Deathly Hallows tattoo on my ankle, a little stick and poke one. So he told me that when he was planning the proposal, he was brainstorming with his cousin on a flight, actually, how to do it. And of course, Casper, now that I think about it, of course he wasn't just going to get down on one knee. He had to do something creative and a bit different, which this definitely was. Like, even though I knew it was going to happen, the way he did it took me by such surprise. It was so special. I couldn't, believe the planning that had gone into it. And a lot of people have actually asked about the book, so I'm going to show you it page by page. Well, just a little glimpse. So it says, Amber, Casper, and the Chamber of No Secrets. Casper said it was very important that my name was at the top, not the bottom. I think he got a first draft and it said Casper and then Amber, and he was like, no, Amber has to be at the top. Anyway, ANC forever, and it's got us in the front of the car with Joey, my cat, on the front, which is so sweet. And so when I saw this, I mean, it's just so special. So AC Forever is the author, and on the back it's got quotes. So there's one from my best friend Halima, there's one from Josh and Ellie, and there's one from my mum. I'm not going to read them out because they're quite long, but if you want to read them, you can pause to read. There you go. And mum calls Casper Casper G. Casper G. G is like a term of endearment in, I don't know if it's Bangladeshi culture or Muslim culture, but like mum calls me Amber G, so Casper G is like a nice term of endearment. So basically he said he was making a reel of the day, and while we're in the bath, there's an outdoor bath, someone knocked. So we're staying in this cottage, this secluded cottage at the hotel, and someone had brought in a basket of towels if we needed extra towels, but hidden in the basket when I went outside to film for Casper's reel was this present that was wrapped up, and he handed it to me and he said, this is an early Christmas present. And I unwrapped it and it was this book, and Casper was trying to get me to read it like page by page because it like builds up to the moment, but I was looking at it all, but I was in such a state of like, I was so emotional and it was just so overwhelming. I was just trying to I went to go flick through to see what was in the whole thing, and it opened to, actually, I'll get to that, but I'll talk you through the book. So, preface, before we start reading the second novel in our magical adventure, let's go over what happened in the first, because the first novel is us before we got engaged, etc. And it basically has illustrations in the story of our relationship, which I'll flick through, and again, you can pause to read it all because it will take me like a little while. But I mean, honestly, the care and the detail that has gone into all of this, and then actually printed into a real book. I don't know if you can see that. I'll go back one. And it's all illustrations that are taken from actual photos of us. And this bit is meant to be where like the proposal photo will go. And then it says, let the second novel begin. And then it was meant to open to the ring being in there. So I didn't read it. Oh, that's just kind of breaking a bit. I didn't read it page by page because I, again, was trying to take the whole thing up. And then I opened the book like this to see the ring inside, which I mean, and this is actually a Harry Potter novel, which is incredible, like all through here. Oh, that bit of foam just came out. So yeah, the book, it's just, I think it was just a way of Casper making it a little bit personal, and it is incredible. This is something I'm going to cherish forever. It's amazing. And then later in the night, when we were having dinner, Casper came and sat next to me and we read this through properly, and I just started crying again, like actually taking it all in. Honest, just amazing. How is life as engaged different from when you were dating? So it's kind of the same, but it's also not. It is different, and I think maybe it's also because we've just moved. We moved kind of right before we went to South Africa, and it's finally just the two of us living together for the first time, because we've lived together for like 3-4 years, but never just the two of us. And it's really, it's made our relationship better. Like, even though it was so great before, I just feel so close. I just feel so close to him, and we have so much fun. And it's just, I feel like we're more of a unit now that we're engaged. I don't know. I just feel like it's more serious. I feel like it's me and Casper. We are a family. We are building a real life together. So yeah, it does feel a little bit different. What kind of dress? I have no idea. I'm thinking about this, but look, there'll be plenty of time to talk about that. But right now, I have no idea. Can you try to describe the emotional rollercoaster you experienced at that moment? It just didn't, do you know what? It felt like I was pretending to get proposed to. I think because it's a moment you think about. When it actually happened, I could not believe it was actually happening, even though I knew it was happening as well. It was so weird and bizarre, and I didn't even say yes for quite a while because I was like, oh my God, it's actually happening. And it didn't sink in for a good like hour or two that we're actually engaged. I didn't know what to do with myself either. When it happened, I was like, now what? It's also weird living out a moment that you know you're going to remember forever, you know, like knowing that this is, so I was trying to take everything in, and I've already gone back and gone over my memories again and again and again to make sure that I have it all like locked down in here because I don't want to forget anything. And a few days after it happened, I actually wrote a journal entry of the whole thing, the whole day from start to finish, everything I was feeling, all the thoughts I had the whole day, so that I always have it forever. And I hope Casper did the same thing as well. Were your friends and family surprised when it happened? No, because Casper had basically told everyone that he was doing it. He had told half the world. He had told all of my family, all of his family, all of his friends. He was telling people in business meetings that he was proposing to me. He was telling everyone. Actually, he didn't tell all of my friends. He told one of my friends. But all of my friends all thought it was going to happen because I told them that I thought it was going to happen. So it was this genuine surprise to nobody. But that was really nice as well. It was so nice knowing that everyone knew, kind of. It's weird. It was like this big little open secret. A lot of the questions are very similar now. Was Casper nervous? He was. He was like pacing the room. I think he was so relieved when it was over because he didn't have to hide anything from me anymore, because he like was hiding his phone. He wouldn't let me go on his phone, he wouldn't let me go on his laptop, which is weird because Casper is not the kind of guy who is secretive over his phone. He always lets me like, you know, go on it if I need to use it or whatever. He's fine with that. But the months leading up to it, he was really private. And he had to archive so many chats on WhatsApp so he wouldn't get notifications that I would see. He had this group chat called Operation AC on WhatsApp that he had to have archived to plan the whole thing. So yeah, he was nervous because he was like hiding so much from me. So he's really relieved that it's over. A lot of people asked about the wedding, which I've already kind of talked about. We want to have a long engagement, because also we want to get married in South Africa, which a lot of people have asked because it's such a special place. But yeah,